Okay, let's talk about your rim of your bowl. So you have lots of different options that you can do for making the rim of your bowl. One of them would be to keep it just straight up and just leave it, just smooth it off and round it off. And that is totally fine. One thing on a smooth rounded top bowl, you could choose to add a handle. This is a little berry bowl that I made, and it's great for using as a berry strainer. And I love it because my smallish bowl fits in my hand and just kind of hooks onto my thumb, and it works really well. And you could even add this as one of your texture patterns. You can push holes all the way through and make yours into a little colander. And when we talk about feet, I'll show you how I did this as well. So another rim that you could choose to do would be to make it look like a flower. Now, I did this bowl on the wheel. This is actually one of my pieces from when I was in college. And I'll show you how to do kind of a wavy rim bowl, and that could be an option. This is from a texture bowl from a previous student of mine. She gifted this to me, and you can see she's texturized the outside and then folded the rim down, and then she made her rim kind of wavy. So you could try this one out, and there's little texturized things going on there in that rim. Another just nice, simple, easy would be, instead of just leaving it up like this one is, my strainer, one thing you could do, you can see how the form of that edge on this little guy kind of bends back out. So you could choose that as your option. And this just goes, and it feels like more of an open bowl, like welcoming. It's not as closed off as something that would be just straight up. So think about that. This piece of pottery is actually made by a famous potter. He is a world-renowned potter. His name is Richard Bresnahan, and he does pottery at St. John's Pottery Studio up in Collegeville, Minnesota. I take my level 2 and 3 kids to see his pottery studio. But one thing that I love about this edge is that it's kind of a nice thick rim. And what he does is he presses into the middle, and you could take your loop tool and you could carve into your nice straight edged rim and add a little indentation. And then you can see the glaze pulls away from the edge, and then it gathers in that little indentation. It creates kind of a nice effect. So you can see kind of his foot there as well. It's beautiful work. So think about what sort of a rim you would want for your pot. So with this, I've got my bowl that I've made here, and I've got my practice texture slabs here that I've been eyeing and trying to figure out what to do. And so I'm just gonna pull this down, and I'm gonna show you a couple different examples of what I would do. Now, my bowl is still fairly malleable, and the rim is able to move. If you can't get your edge to move exactly like how you would want, I would highly recommend, and what I have here is I've cut 2 strips of clay out, and you could use those strips to score and slip and put on the edge of your pottery, of your bowl. And so what you could do, again, they're probably 2 different clay consistencies, but what this will allow you to do is to have your bowl be nice and leather hard, and then you can tip the angle of your rim at a different angle and then blend them together. So if I was going to do a rim that was kind of angling down, I would score and slip this edge so that it's angled down. Can you see a little bit? So that would be similar to this bowl here where it kind of angles down. You could also score and slip so it's angled sideways. You can kind of see that edge there. So I am going to score both of my edges here. And like I said before, it is still malleable and movable. So if you wanted to, for example, do this floral rim bowl, you could, what I would do is I would take 2 fingers here, and then I would push an indentation there. And then I would continue repeating that. And so I'd put my finger right where it just was. and keep turning that around. Now, if you dragged your bowl too much and it's not moving like this, that's why we would score and slip that extra clay on. And I want to do that, so I am going to flatten this back into a smooth bowl, and I'm going to do my scoring and slipping. So I'm going to take my needle tool. Remember, when you're scoring and slipping, you need to go nice and deep with your scores. You want to see little bits of clay start popping up. I'm going to do this all the way around my bowl. I'm going to do it on one of the edges of my pieces of clay that I've cut out. You can add your slip. All right, so I've got all my score marks made. I've got really nice rough edges. So hopefully your scores look like mine. If not, go back and keep doing it until it's nice and blended, or nice and scored. So then what I do is I'm going to take my water. I use water. Some teachers recommend that you use slip. But what I do is I dip my finger into that and I just dab on the rim. You don't want to smooth out your score marks. Do not do this where you're smoothing out those score marks. You've just taken away all that hard work. So don't do that. Just kind of dab. Dab and get that going. I go all the way around. And then I'm going to grab my coils and then we're going to start blending those on. I've got my scored edge here as well. And whenever you attach, you want to kind of press it into the bottom. So watch this. As I press, you'll see, and maybe it didn't happen there, but normally you're going to see some slip or water kind of squeegee out. Then you know you've got a real nice solid joint that you're starting to form. And you can see my coil only goes halfway around, so I've got another coil that I'm going to be adding to this. Whenever you're blending pieces together, you want to make sure you're supporting behind what you're blending. So I'm going to show you. I've got my hand here. It's hard to show you. Got my hand here behind it, and I'm going to try to blend through. And it doesn't matter which way you blend. You can blend up or down, but you do want to go vertically over that joint first. And you'll be able to tell the different clay consistencies. Now mine is not blending the best, so I'm going to take out my wooden tool. I'm thinking that will allow, there we go. I'm able to get a better blend. And then once you go vertically over that, you want to go all the way around. And you're going to do the back side as well. So what I'm going to do, we'll see if this works. I'm going to take my paper towel, put it over my bowl. Let's see if I can turn it upside down so I can blend and have something to push onto. So you could see if that works. That's working so much better. So you could do your outside first. Doesn't matter, outside, inside, but you need to have a really nice, good blend. You want to be able to see that line start to disappear. And like I said, you want to go vertically over that joint, and then you can start blending horizontally to get that smoothed over. So now I have one side on. And it's looking nice and blended all the way around. I'm going to get my next coil on. And so this is the opening that I need to fill in. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to squeeze this onto the outside here and then cut off what I don't need, but I'm going to leave a little extra just so that I can join it onto my bowl a little bit, just to give it a little bit more strength. And then I'm going to do the same thing that I just did. I'm going to blend the inside and the outside. And then we'll do some shaping.